Director Comey, have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?
Never.
Has any classified information relating to President Trump or his associates been declassified and shared with the media?
Not to my knowledge.
Those words that we just heard might come back to haunt James Comey as we learn more details about the former FBI director's role in helping Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton spread the Russia hoax. Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Booth, along with Griff Jenkins, Dr. Nicole Saphier, and Brian Brenberg, and this is the Big Weekend Show. Kash Patel released a paper trail containing the strongest evidence yet that Comey authorized leaks to the media just before the 2016 election. In 2021, Biden's DOJ declined to press charges against Comey, despite having this evidence. Comey's former chief of staff, James Robisky, and former FBI general counsel, James Baker, are the key names in the memos. Baker allegedly gave classified information to the New York Times under Comey's direction. With Robisky backing up that claim, this new information comes as Comey faces a grand jury probe into allegations that he manufactured a false connection between Trump and Russia. We only learned of these memos thanks to Attorney General Pam Bondi, who intervened to eliminate its redactions. And this week, she delivered the documents to the House and Senate Judiciary Committees. Joining us now for the big close-up, House Judiciary Committee Chairman and House Oversight Committee member, Congressman Jim Jordan. Congressman, great to see you. Thank you for being here tonight, sir.
You bet. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. So,
you bet.
If the FBI has definitive evidence that former FBI Director James Comey leaked classified information, why hasn't his house been raided or why hasn't he been arrested?
Well, it may be. Who knows? What I do know is it looks like Jim Comey lied to Senator Grassley in those statements. I mean, and also think about the bigger picture, what we've learned in the last 4 weeks. We learned that Comey leaked classified information, at least that's what it appears to. It looks like Adam Schiff, according to a whistleblower, also leaked classified information. What ODNI Director Gabbard brought forward 4 weeks ago, based on what a whistleblower told her, it looks like all these guys, Brennan, Clapper, Comey, McCabe, Baker, all these guys changed the intelligence community assessment back during this same time period. They changed the report. And now, of course, we have John Bolton mishandling classified information. So we've learned all that. But I think Comey was sort of the central figure, because never forget, not only was he leaking this information, he went up to Trump Tower on January 6, 2017. So between Election Day and Inauguration Day, President Trump thinks he's getting the typical defensive briefing that all incoming presidents are going to get. But instead, Jim Comey's helping set President Trump up for all this, goes up and talks to him about the dossier that Director Comey already knows is a false document. They already know is ridiculous. And then they leak that information to the press and create this whole momentum, this whole undermining of the presidency, create the whole path for the Mueller investigation. So I think Jim Comey maybe faces some real, real concern here based on Pam Bondi putting this team together and looking into all this.
No, I hear you. And I remember, obviously he leaked that meeting. He told them the salacious details before he took office in 2017 because they were looking for a hook to publish the dossier. He gave them the hook. But to your point, Bolton had his house raided, but not the others. So what will happen to these people? Why haven't they faced consequences yet?
Well, we'll see. Again, Attorney General Bondi's indicated she's put a special group together to investigate all this, how they changed the Intelligence Committee report, what all happened in that time frame. And I always point out, too, I'm glad they're investigating this because this is when it all started. This whole pattern, this whole lawfare, it started in 2016 with him spying on his campaign, then trying to sabotage his presidency, talking to him about the dossier, which led to the whole Mueller investigation, then impeachment, then Jack Smith, Fonnie Willis, Alvin Bragg, and on. It all started back then. And I am so glad that we have Attorney General Bondi, Director Patel, and ODNI Director Tulsi Gabbard bringing this information forward. And it sort of begs the real question, where's Chris Wray? Why didn't we get this information? Why did it take Kash and Pam and Tulsi to bring this information forward? Why didn't we get it from Chris Wray? But the good news is it's coming forward now, and Attorney General Bondi is looking into it with this special team she's put together to investigate it all.
Well, certainly we'll see more to come on that. Congressman Jordan, it's Nicole Sapphire. The House Oversight Committee met with former Biden spokesman Ian Sams this week. Sams was a staunch defender of Biden's mental abilities on TV, but had very few interactions with Biden. Take a look.
We had a list of things that we were going to ask Ian Sams. We never dreamed that he had no interaction with President Biden. I mean, this was President Biden's main spokesperson for 2 years. And what we found out yesterday was he never even hardly communicated with Joe Biden. In 2 years, he had 2 face-to-face interactions.
And more former Biden aides are set to testify next month, including Karine Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
And now we're learning another high-profile name could be called before the committee.
I said on Fox that Byron Donald's the one that suggested that, but I think that it would be helpful to hear from Kamala Harris. We haven't decided whether or not we're going to issue the subpoena or not, but certainly she's welcome to come to the committee.
So, Congressman Jordan, is this hyperbole, conjecture? What's the actual likelihood that former Vice President Kamala Harris will be subpoenaed next?
I think Chairman Comer will continue to progress through the investigation that that the committee started. Whether he gets to the former vice president and then, of course, the Democrats' nominee for the office of president, whether it gets to her or not, I don't know. I think that'll be driven by the facts and what we learn in the whole course of this investigation. What I do think is probably necessary at some point, we probably need a whistleblower to come forward because, you know, former President Biden said they had a process where they filtered through how the whole Autopen worked, who got, particularly when it came to the pardons and the things he did right at the end of his presidency. It seems to me, short of a whistleblower coming forward and saying that they definitely broke the protocol, didn't follow the normal process, something like that, I think it's tough. But I think the big takeaway, of course, here is how the media handled this. I mean, the media forever said everything was fine. And then, of course, even though we all knew it wasn't, I always say the left has a template. The left will tell a lie. Big media will report the lie. Big tech will amplify the lie. And then when you tell the truth, they call you names. And that's what happened when we called out the truth here. But it turns out we were right all along. Joe Biden was just not up to the task.
And they told the American people to not believe their lying eyes. Congressman Griff here, I want to ask you about something else. The DOJ has now turned over the large first batch of Epstein files to the House Oversight Committee, while also releasing the full transcript of their interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's some of what Maxwell had to say.
I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody.
But Democrats are insisting Maxwell and the DOJ are covering for Trump.
Donald Trump and the DOJ are going to try to manipulate the way this information comes out. And the timing of this, Ms. Maxwell's testimony, should cause alarm.
Well, it's obvious that she's trying to get a pardon. She's sucking up to the president.
This is a woman who is fishing for a pardon. Not shocked that she is singing Donald Trump's praises to get off. This is all a continuation of the conspiracy from Donald Trump and his team to protect billionaires.
So I want to get your response to those Democrats making these claims, Congressman. And then also, the second part of the question, just will the committee ultimately make these records you've received public?
We'll see. What I know is they didn't release parts of the transcript. They released the whole transcript. And you know, so you can go through the whole thing. And, of course, this confirms what we all knew. If the Democrats, if President Trump had done something wrong, you don't think the Democrats would have released that? I mean, it was their Justice Department who handled all this. You don't think the Garland Justice Department and the Chris Wray FBI would have released information? We knew President Trump didn't do anything wrong here. He said that repeatedly. This transcript is the whole transcript, and it confirms that. So yeah, I think there's nothing there. It seems based on what we got from the interview of Miss Maxwell.
Congressman, last one for you. President Trump signed an executive order preventing banks from discriminating based on political views. This comes after accusations that Presidents Obama and Biden pressured financial institutions to debank conservatives. This week, bank executives confirmed to Fox that conservatives were, in fact, targeted. So you've been on the front lines of this issue. Are you going to be investigating the Obama and Biden administrations over these debanking allegations?
Yeah, this is something we've had for a while. We've been working on for a while. And if you remember, clear back, we learned that the FBI sent information to Bank of America about people who were in or near the Capitol, and they wanted every credit card transaction, every debit card transaction in the D.C. area over January 5th, 6th, and 7th, those key days. And then it was, on top of that, it was more pressure to debank these people. This is just another form of censorship, but it's financial censorship. They can debank you because they don't like the product you're selling. They don't like the political views you have. This is as wrong as it gets. So God bless President Trump for coming forward with this executive order. We'll continue to look into it because we know it's happened before. What was called Operation Choke Point, where they said if you're in a business, like you're in the firearms business, they were looking to debank you. This is wrong. It's not supposed to happen in America. And God bless the president for stepping forward with this executive order.
You know, Congressman, before we go, I've got one more follow-up on the Autopen controversy and that investigation. Once the Oversight Committee is done with the investigations, what's the end goal? Like, where is it leading? What happens at the end?
Well, I think, part of our job is, we can't indict anyone, we can't prosecute anyone, but we have a constitutional duty to do oversight of the executive branch. And that's what Chairman Comey is doing with his investigation. And we just want the facts all out there so the country knows that, so that hopefully nothing like this happens in the future, where you have a president who is obviously not up to the job. No one likes to say that, but it was just the facts. And you had the press and you had people in the government trying to say that he was. We don't want that situation ever to happen again. So I think our job is, again, to get the facts out there, depending on what our investigation shows, what all the facts we bring forward. Then we can make a decision on, do we need some kind of legislation, something in addition to the 25th Amendment, that we have? I don't know, but I think we first just get the facts out there, do the oversight that the Constitution requires the legislative branch to do.
Well, doesn't it also behoove us to get some sort of procedure in order? Because obviously in the digital era, people use Autopen, auto signatures all the time. So this is a blaring example of why we need to have some sort of process and rules in place. I mean, the mental clarity of former President Biden aside, maybe we should also just be talking about moving forward when it comes to pardons, bill signing, EOs. Maybe they can't have an auto pen. Maybe they have to be hand signed. I mean, are we going to have some sort of policy on it?
Yeah, you would think that and maybe that's where it winds up, particularly when you're talking about big pieces of legislation, big decisions by the commander-in-chief, by the president of the United States. Maybe that's where it goes. Again, I think we do the investigation, get the facts, and then you can figure out, do we need legislation? Do we need some kind of remedy to what took place?
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, you made the mistake of being too interesting, and then we just have all these questions for you. If you came on and you just bombed, we wouldn't have more. So, Chairman, thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you so much for joining us this Saturday night. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.